Sick, sunburnt, and pimples erupting on my face. It seems I can't win. But welcome to days 6 and 7 in San Francisco and leaving. And you'll see why in a minute. That was my last full day in San Francisco. And I decided to walk towards another direction, which led me to Japantown. Look at that, all the signs and symbols. This was kind of accidental. I was aiming to go somewhere else, but I saw a little mall. And I was like, you know what I haven't had in a while? Bubble tea. And so there was this little shop that I found that had a mango matcha bubble tea, and I was like, let me try that. It was fantastic. Honestly, amazing. And that little mall had a restaurant row, which was pretty cute because when you walked in it, it felt like you were in the street in Japan. It was decorated the way that it would be outside, and everything was lined up. And then it led us to a bunch of other stores, like little gaming stuff and like figurines. I don't know exactly how this type of store is called, but apparently you get to collect the figurines. I've seen this in videos of like people touring in Japan. Anyway, you take the figurine and then you put it in little decors, and you can take videos and pictures with it, which is pretty cool. It's great for kids, really. And then I found the Kittleton, speaking of which is the type of arcade situation, also things that I've seen in videos from Japan where you can basically go pull some toys. And then once I was done touring Japantown accidentally, I was heading over to the Painted Ladies, which apparently I learned it's more of a style, meaning that there's some everywhere, but there was one point on the GPS. And then you see me tired because I was sick and I didn't feel like walking anymore. So it was time to order a taxi to get to my next location. But I found where I saw this weird type of vehicle going around, and I was like, what is it? And I saw Waymo, so I Googled it. Guys, you'll never believe it. These are self-driving cars. You literally just order one, it parks in front of you, you get in the car, and you just say, I'm ready to go. And the car drives itself. What kind of futuristic ass world are we living in? I was scared for the first time, for sure, which that sounds familiar. But I was in the car. I was letting it drive. I was observing the scenery as we were driving by. It was a trippy experience. I would have never, ever expected to live this on the trip. I didn't realize that existed. Anyway, it finally dropped me off at my location, and it was a beautiful little park, Presidio Park, next to the Golden Gate Bridge. And I didn't realize, but the George Lucas Arts company is situated there. And this is a Yoda statue in front of the building where they work. As a matter of fact, you can walk into the lobby and see some memorabilia from the movies, or replicas, depending what you're looking at. So you saw R2-D2, and this is a real life-size representation of Darth Vader. There's a bunch of artifacts, I guess, all of the lightsabers, for example, that are in the cases. And then I was off to go see the Golden Gate Bridge. So I walked a little bit from where I was, and landed on this beautiful view of the bridge, which is pretty cool. They kind of really set up a park to have a beautiful view of it, and behind it as well as a beautiful view of the city. It's nice to kind of overlook it, including the Palace of Arts, I think that's what it's called. Anyway, so I kind of really relaxed there for a while, took a couple of shots of the bridge. As you can see now, it's kind of a nice panoramic view of the bridge. The weather was great, which I was really thankful for, because the previous day wasn't that amazing. And then I sat down, look at that bird. I was so chilled. The animals were kind of circling around me. But look at that view with the sun ray. Huh, what a sight. Anyway, once I was done, because I literally spent, I think, an hour and a half there just sitting and people watching and gazing, it was time to grab a bus because there was no way I was walking back all the way back to my hotel. So luckily, actually, one of the lines, I guess it's made for tourists, really started at the foot of where I was. So I just had to walk a couple of minutes, and then it was time to grab some dinner. So I went to a little shop that was not too far off to get some pho again, because, well, I like soup. And then I was like, I don't know what to do tonight, because I want to relax. So I decided to go see a movie, actually, The Materialists, which I highly recommend if you're interested in romance and business. Amazing movie. Anyway, I ended up spending like $22, I guess, to purchase the ticket, and then another like 28 US to get popcorn, drinks, and candy, which is crazy because when you convert it into Canadian, just going to the movies cost me like $70 something. Anyway, after that was done, I was like, it's time to head home and get ready for my flight tomorrow morning. It was pretty early. It was scheduled for 10:30 in my calendar, and needed to get there obviously 2 hours in advance, which means 8:30 when you're doing math, and then it's about 45 minutes to get there from downtown San Francisco, plus the checkout time. I had to plan the whole shit. And to be fair, I was still sick. I still am, but I sound worse because I think I heard my throat sneezing the wrong way. Anyway, next morning, I was ready to leave. So this is me just, I don't know what I was doing, to be honest. But this is kind of I was undoing the path that I did 3 days ago to get back to the airport. So Powell Street Station, grabbing the yellow line instead of the red line, I guess. Anyway, they both led to the airport. And now I really understand why they call it the Fog City. Look at that. It's really, really foggy. Beautiful view, though. I was so happy. It was so sunny, and I was like, why didn't I have that on my first full day in San Francisco? Anyway, but I finally made it all the way to the airport just to realize that I fucked up. Yeah, my flight was not at 10:30 in the morning. It was at 4:30 in the afternoon. Which meant that I had to wait 8 hours in the airport and look at my face full of regret. Anyway, so I grabbed breakfast from there because I was hungry, and I was dreading the fact that I could have A, slept in, B, grabbed breakfast that would have cost me a lot less in downtown San Francisco rather than the airport. And I basically lounged there. I was on my phone, I read a bit, just hoping that time would pass by. It was pretty rough. Nothing beats a JetBlue holiday. Get 50 euros off or whatever the promo is. I saw JetBlue and I was like, oh my God, that made me think of the TikTok trend. Anyway, that was a failed attempt. And thankfully, I am lucky with those. I was bumped up to Economy Plus, the first row with more legroom, which once in a while it happens to me, I guess, when I'm traveling alone. But anyway, it was a short flight, made it to LA in about an hour and a half. And I had completely not realized that I would be landing in the middle of rush hour, which meant that my Uber ride to Anaheim, which was a little bit over an hour drive, cost me $98 US, which is probably $140 Canadian, which was crazy. But I finally made it to my motel, I guess, with my room number 131. 31 is my lucky number. Could you imagine this? What were the odds? And I was just very happy to finally make it in my room, which I was like, this is awfully spacious, huh? Only to realize that I think they gave me a handicap room, which I found it so funny because it's kind of a recall of me asking for a lift in Alcatraz with the other handicapped people. Anyway, when I finally sat down, I watched some SpongeBob. I needed to do laundry. Thankfully, there was a laundromat literally next to my motel. So it took me just a minute to get there and start laundry. When I got back, ordered some chicken wings. I don't know. I was in the mood for that. I continued watching a bit of TV. I think it was Family Guy. And that's it.